shiny, and chrome. We've heard it in movies before, and I love it. And I'm gonna give you some deep impact right now. Chrome is designed for accessibility and strength on hand tools, not optimized for impact abuse. So now we're moving from chrome, and now we're specifically talking about impact and what really differentiates chrome to an impact socket.
So the difference between chrome and impact is the heat treat process. And within that process, we're after three things: ductility, toughness, and impact strength. Those are the three factors we're after between chrome and impact and what they're doing for work. So ductility is the material's ability to bend before it breaks, right? So think about this like a rubber band. A rubber band, you can stretch, you can move around, and it's going to return to shape. That is a very ductile property, okay? Move it all over the place. The other end of the spectrum is glass. Glass does not bend. You try to bend glass, you're going to break it, it's going to shatter, it's going to go everywhere, okay? So it's the material's ability to move around without breaking. The second thing is toughness, which is the material's ability to withstand energy before fracture with the presence of a defect, right? So imagine there's a small crack in your socket. On an impact socket, the toughness and the heat treat that we put into it, it is designed to take that and absorb that blow. Whereas on chrome, on an impact, it's not designed to take that. So that's where you see fractures and failures, is when there's a defect on chrome. The heat treat is not optimized for that, where it is on an impact socket. The last thing we have is impact strength. Okay, so think about chrome sockets, as we talked about, being optimized for hand tool use. Okay, so take this 17 millimeter deep 1/2 inch drive socket. You put that on a breaker bar and you're applying a sustained load on the breaker bar through the socket. Okay, so you're taking it from 0 and then however many foot-pounds, but you're not doing it, you're slowly applying that force. Okay? On an impact socket, it's much different. It's taking the blow from the anvil and the hammers, and it's absorbing that. Not only is it absorbing it, it's absorbing it a lot because it's moving very quickly, right? Blows per minute. We always talk about with impacts, that's a differentiating feature. Well, the socket has to take that. So the heat treat is optimized for that load.
And again, don't get it twisted here. These come from the same quality alloy steel, cold formed, talking about the chrome and the impact. I will tell you that I feel like the impact socket is my new spirit animal. I mean, think about it. Impact strength, ductility, and toughness, that's what everybody wants to be. Right. So now we're not gonna pivot here. We're gonna swivel over to swivel sockets, because you're taking that same quality alloy steel, cold formed, but now you're adding a little bit of flexibility to it.
Right, we take a lot of pride in our impact swivel sockets and just swivel sockets in general, universal joints, because we put a lot of engineering and a lot of design into these. It's worth mentioning all the features and benefits, again, of something that we feel like is so simple, but really is very well engineered. So let's just start off with the base of it. We've got a nice large cutaway here. So we've got two ends here. You've got sort of the fastener side and the drive end. We cold forge these in Milwaukee. We then machine them. We heat treat them depending on if it's chrome or impact. This is impact. So we're gonna heat treat it for those properties we discussed. And then we then put them together, okay? The point of the spring that you see here is really all about controlling the fastener side of the socket if you're working in a restricted access. I love this because think about, you've got that long extension, you pivot the head to get it just lined up perfectly so that when you drop that socket over the top of a transmission to the back of a bell housing and you're removing it, you want to have confidence that you've lined this up and it's not flopping around up there.
Yeah, you're already frustrated enough. It's got this maybe long extension, go up there, can't get the fastener on, It's wobbling around. Nope, not the case here.
Exactly.
Locked and loaded, ready to go.
Exactly. Another thing that really is the bread and butter of a socket and why we are so proud of this, I'll just rotate this here a little bit, is where the two ends are permanently joined together. Okay, so we precision machine a hole through the drive end. We then take a high strength steel pin, put that through, right? So you drop the top, you got the spring in there, run the pin through, and then we 360-degree laser weld this. This is a precision laser weld, and I talk about the precision because that's important. Because as you talk about heat treat, we've talked about this with like punches and chisels, right? When you need to sharpen a chisel, you're doing that by hand. You don't want to use a grinder because you're introducing heat and you're changing the heat treatment that's applied to that. The same is true with an impact socket or a chrome socket. You want to reduce the amount of heat so that you don't have a failure here at the point of where you're permanently joining. So we 360 weld it on both sides, and then we precision machine this down nice and smooth so that if you are maybe guiding a socket or something like that with your fingers, there's nothing to catch on, or if it's in a restricted access, it's not going to catch on anything. So we do not use a retaining ring, nor do we use a weld process that may look a little sloppy like a MIG weld, right? So there's no variability. It's in a fixture, it's precision welded, and it's perfect every time.
Looks great, super smooth. I mean, look at that. You can't even see it.
Exactly.
And it's not compromising the product.
And it's not compromising the product with the weld. So that's what really makes up an impact socket. And you want these features because it allows you to have a 360-degree rotation of the head. So if you're in a restricted area that you have to put the 30 degrees of angle we can put in here, that you have confidence that it's going to freely move around without binding up on a retaining ring or a lobe or worry about that joint failing.
And remember, they are made in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, lifetime warranty, but this is just a small sampling of, chrome, impact sockets, swivel sockets. Talk about the depth.
There's a lot of depth in the swivel line. And because it's about restricted access, you get a lot of specialty applications. But from a bread and butter perspective, we have quarter, 3/8, half-inch drive. We've got them in shallow, deep, semi-deep, impact, chrome, extra deep. There's so many varieties out there, and it's really about accessibility as engine bays and things get tighter and tighter. Having a wide variety of swivel sockets that you can have confidence whether you're using a hand tool or a power tool on is really important.
So there it is, the Snap-on Tools impact sockets, swivel sockets. I believe we made some real deep impact there.